All right. I pressed got it. We are now streaming live on YouTube. I am Justice Evelyn Wilson. This is a video conference meeting of the 10th Judicial District Nominating Commission. I'm going to call the meeting to order at this time, and I am going to call a roll call just so that we can, for those people who might just be listening in, they will know whether or not we have a quorum. So when I say your name, just say here or present or make some indication that you're here. Thomas Bath.
Here.
Samuel Turner Sr.
Here.
James A.C. Griffith.
Present.
Stephanie Moore.
Here.
Annabeth Serbaugh.
Here.
Laura McConwell.
Here.
Doug Brownlee. Honorable Thomas Kelly Ryan.
Present.
Stephen Tatum.
Here.
Chris Tallarico. Rick Gwynn.
Here.
Kevin Moriarty.
Here.
Greg Musel. Janine Estrada Lopez. All right, we need at least 8, and we do have a quorum, so I am going to go ahead with welcoming everyone. The purpose of this meeting is to discuss the method of selecting and submitting candidate names to the governor for one district judge vacancy. Judge Paul Gurney is retiring, and appointing magistrate judges for 2 vacancies in the 10th Judicial District. District Magistrate Judge Daniel Vokins will retire December 9, and District Magistrate Judge James Phelan will retire December 31. My assistant, Michelle Brown, is also present, and I believe that you have received some documents from her by email, including an agenda, a proposed agenda for today. Is there any objection to the agenda? Any modifications anyone would like to make? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve.
Move for approval.
Okay, Annabeth Serbaugh moved. Kelly Ryan, did you second?
Sure.
And is there any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand or raise your hand by your face so I can see it. All right, motion carried. And I believe you've also received a draft proposal of the August 29 and 30, 2022 minutes. I'd like for you to turn your attention to those minutes, please, and would entertain a motion to approve or to modify. Kelly?
Justice Wilson, the only, I think a correction needs to be made on paragraph 4, because when we were on Zoom, we were not streaming it on YouTube. I think just take that part out.
All right. Yeah, I think that's right. We did decide not to do YouTube because it was an open meeting and there were people who could attend in person. Any other corrections or modifications to the proposed minutes from those 2 days? All right, I'd entertain a motion then to approve the minutes as modified.
So move.
Miss Sam, was that you?
Yes.
Okay. Second,
Second.
Annabeth Serbaugh seconds. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by raising your right hand. I'm not counting my vote because I'm a non-voting member, but motion carried. All right, and the item number 4 is to review the nominees and the vetting assignments. Last time we paired up into 7 groups of 2. And this time we have, I believe, if I counted right, 17 nominees. So some would, if we did it that way, some would get 2 nominees and a few would get 3 nominees. But it's that's all up to you. So you all can do whatever you would like to do.
So we have 3 of the nominees who will get appointed to the other vacancies, so it will drop to 14.
Right. But we don't know who those 14 will be today.
Yes.
When by law do we have to know?
August
30th of October.
Yeah. October. Yeah, we were visiting. It's October 29 or 30 in that area, but well before our interviews in mid-November.
I would move the same process we used the last time, assign teams of 2 with certain teams being assigned 3 until obviously people drop off due to the selection process. So that's my motion.
All right. And Rick Gwynn makes that motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
And that is James Griffith. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. All right, motion carried. All right, do you want to just do that today then? We can. I don't see any objection, and that way it's so hard for us to meet again. Otherwise, we would simply email it to you. But this way, I know you're here. I know you're listening. The only people that we worry about connecting with are the ones who were not here. So I'm looking at the latest roster and would propose that, because we've got a vertical list of lawyer members and then non-lawyer members, shall we just go across and do it that way? Anyone object to that? Okay, Tom Bath, Annabeth Serbaugh, you're first up. Do you want 2 or 3?
2.
All right.
I'm very strong with that. I'm having a lot of appointments and illness stuff, so I'm hoping for 2.
All right.
Tom will
I'll
fight me.
just, I'll go. Tom seems to be pretty busy too. I have a list of the nominees. It's an alphabetical list. So if you object to your names for any reason, you don't have to tell me what it is. We'll choose other names. So first 2 are Jennifer Ashford and Stephanie Benson Hebbard.
We did Steph last time, Tom and I.
We did both of those last time.
Right.
Correct.
Okay.
In fact,
Shall I
it would be
start at
that
the
way all
bottom
the way.
then?
We
Can
should
go
flip
from the
it.
bottom up.
Okay,
Yes.
I'll go from the bottom up. Catherine Triplett and Joanne Waltman. I hear no objection. That'll go to team
So
1.
both of those were nominated.
Yes.
So there is a chance that, so we just need to be ready to swap if someone ends up with no interviews to do.
Oh, I don't know about that, James. I think this is working out really, really nice.
I'm with you, Tom.
Okay. Team number 2 will be Rick Gwynn and Doug Brownlee. Neither one of them are here today. So
No, Rick's here.
oh yeah, there you are, Rick. I'm so sorry. Rick, how many do you want? 2 or 3?
Open to going either way.
All right. Well, fortune favors the volunteer, so I'm going to give you 3. Wayne Smith, Michelle O'Malley, and Catherine Sinatra.
Can we just clarify that the 3 names I have next on my list are Wayne Smith, Catherine Sinatra, and Curtis Sample.
Sample. Yeah.
Okay. Michelle O'Malley snuck in there. Okay, well, Michelle O'Malley really should go there.
Well, it's Sample,
Or-
Sinatra, and Smith are those
Right.
bottom three on the agenda.
Okay, I hope the rest of them are in. Okay, so I'll give you Wayne Smith, Catherine Sinatra, and Curtis Sample. All right,
Works.
and team number 3, Laura McConwell and Janine Estrada Lopez.
I'd like to,
Okay,
because I
Oh.
need to get to know the new person and I'm kind of
Right.
slammed. Okay,
Okay.
so it's Michelle and
Michelle
Tel.
O'Malley and Tel Parrott.
Thank you.
And team number 4, Kevin Moriarty and James Griffith. How many names would you like?
Well, I think the rest of us have to take.
You
No,
have to take
we've,
3.
James and I think that we should be getting 2.
Yes. And
All
and there's
right, well, the
another
rest-
complication on the list, the next block.
William Meyer and Elizabeth Meller.
We had them both last time.
Okay, well then I'm gonna give you 3, okay? Because you'll have one new one.
I think
Is that
it's
all right?
the
We
applicant
have 3
you
different
the
names.
Same people.
You want 3 different names?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. How about Jennifer Ashford, Stephanie Benson Hubbard, and Jason Billum?
Fine.
That works.
Okay,
Judge,
and, pardon me?
it's Stephanie. I have a question
Yes.
for you
Yes,
up here. And this might be completely something we can't avoid, but would the folks who we are interviewing have concerns that they're getting the same people so soon after they were interviewed just within the last couple of months?
right.
We're trying
And
to.
do they have an opportunity to request different folks to interview them?
We're trying to avoid that.
That's what we
Okay.
all have different.
Well, why don't we,
Oh,
why
you
don't
are
we
getting
just,
different ones?
why
Yes.
don't we just start over? I mean, we haven't
we're
wasted very
good.
many.
We're
Okay,
good.
good?
Everybody has different ones right now.
okay,
Okay,
all right.
okay. Thank you.
I'm, Doug Brownlee is joining us. Hi, Doug.
Good morning. Sorry
Good
I'm a little
morning.
late. I'm in Austin, Texas on the way to the airport.
All right, well, thank you for joining. We are dividing up the nominees, and you have Wayne Smith and Catherine Sinatra and Curtis Sample. And you are paired with Rick Gwynn. Those are
Sounds great.
the 3 assigned for deep confidential interviews, background checks. Okay, Greg Musel and Stephanie Moore, you're up next. And it looks like I'm gonna need to start assigning. Let's see, we have 3 groups left. Do you want 2 or 3? 2? Okay. Natalie Chalmers and Stephanie Goodenow. Is that acceptable to you, Stephanie? You're on mute.
Yes, that's fine. I'm trying to consider Greg not being able to weigh in on that.
If you're not on.
Okay. And group number 6 is Kelly Ryan and Chris Tallarico. And I need to count the ones I've got left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 left. So do you want 2 or 3?
Two's fine.
Okay.
2.
How about Jada Kerr and Michael McCullough?
So Jade is on the list,
Right.
the short list.
Right.
Okay,
number
we
these
have
are.
3 left for Steve Tatum and Sam Turner. John McEntee, Elizabeth Meller, and William Meyer.
Give me that middle name again. McAtee, Meyer, what was the middle name?
Elizabeth Meller,
How do you spell that?
Mellor.
Thank you. All right.
Actually, if it, could you repeat all 3 for me so I can make sure?
Yes, sure. John McEntee Jr., Elizabeth Meller,
Mhm.
William Meyer.
Okay, thank you.
And I would encourage, those of you who have names that are ultimately chosen by the governor, if you could reach out to the others to see if anyone could use some help, that'd be nice.
Yep.
Okay. Then the next thing is to determine the time to start the meeting and time to start interviews. Interviews will be in the Johnson County Courthouse we've set aside November 17th and 18th.
Should we do it that we do the judge position one day and the magistrate judge the next day?
We might want to weave in number 7 to determine how we do it with number 6. I think that makes some good sense, James. And one thing that Michelle pointed out to me yesterday, that we've got a lot of these going on, and so I like to steal good ideas from the other justices in the other districts. And one thing that they have done was that when they had a district judge and a magistrate judge, they would choose the nominees for the district judge and then ask that, all of them, including the nominees that are going to the governor, if they would like to be considered for the magistrate position also. And then if one of them, I can see some.
So in other words, that won't work.
Yeah,
because
it will work. Now hear me out, Kevin.
So we're going to do it twice?
No, if one of them is chosen by the governor and was named as magistrate, then they have the opportunity to have the district judge position. And we would get together and choose a magistrate to replace the one who is now named as district judge. But the attraction to that is that if you've got a really good candidate and they're well qualified to be a district judge, then if they're chosen to go to the governor, in order to avoid some extra work for us, they would have to make the decision to give up their opportunity to be any kind of a judge. They're just out. Sorry, you're one of the candidates that we felt was qualified to be a district judge, but we're not going to consider you for a magistrate. Okay, I'm done. Now y'all. Well, Kevin kind of started. Did you want to finish your thought?
Yeah, here's what I was going to say. If we do it that way and we say we want person A, we send out 5 names or 3 names this time, send up 3 names. And then person A is on that list. Person A says, I'd consider being a magistrate too. And let's say that person A gets the district court judge, we will have to come back and do something again.
Yes.
I think we have so many good candidates that I would prefer that we separate, like, we send 3 names, and then some people have applied specifically for the magistrate position. Some people have not. So I think that we should keep them as separate things.
Kelly?
We have 2 different application forms, one for district court judge and one for district magistrate judge. They are different jobs. And I think, and we have a lot of these people that put down district judge and district magistrate. So they'll say, I'll take whatever. I think they need to make, I personally think they need to make an election and say, I'm going to apply for district court judge. If they're not one of those 3, then they have the chance for the next day. We've already interviewed them. They can have their name in the pool if that's what they want for a magistrate. Because I think you're going to find some of these people would do a district court position, but don't want to be a district magistrate judge. There's a difference.
Absolutely.
And it's different work, and it's a lot of difference in the work, and the pay is definitely different.
Sure. So, but what if, my question to you, Kelly, is to clarify in my mind, if you would clarify for me, what if they want to be a district judge, but they would also consider being a magistrate judge, but they're one of the 3 that go up to the governor? Should they still be considered for magistrate, or are they out?
I think we've got, as James was saying, we've got people who want to be a district magistrate judge. I don't think you hold it up and then you appoint somebody as a district magistrate judge, and then boom, they're chosen as a district judge. I don't think there's anyone who would not take that opportunity. Then we come back for another district magistrate judge. And I'll tell you too, because we have how does that play out? Jen Ashford is a district magistrate judge. Is that fair in her perspective to do it that way? Because you have this timing of district court judge and magistrate judge. I think there should be a separation there. You make an election and go with it.
Well, she wouldn't be considered
No,
for
but
the magistrate. And if she's chosen as district, then we'll have to replace her as magistrate
Right.
anyway.
But I don't think it's kind of like that's in that scenario. I think that's more like somebody who's going to retire from the legislature. They're not running for re-election, so they retire early so that somebody can be appointed, and then they have a leg up when the time comes for the election, because then you're one of the 3. Oh, now you're a district magistrate judge. You haven't even started the job, but the governor's saying, oh, you've been chosen there. That might be a disadvantage to them, actually.
Sure.
I just think there
Steve-
should be a separation.
Steve, did you have your hand up?
I agree with Kelly Ryan's comments. There is a distinct difference between the 2 judge positions in our county, in our 10th judicial district. So I think they should elect what they're applying for.
Does everyone agree that, oh, I'm sorry, Rick. Go ahead.
Thank you. I think we interview all candidates during these 2 days. I think initially we determine the 3 names that are going to, and we inquire of each of the candidates as we interview them over those 2 days. Are you applying for the district judge, magistrate judge? And if you're applying for district, are you willing to be considered for magistrate? Get that clarified at the beginning of their interviews. At the time when it comes for us to make our selections, we first determine who the 3 candidates are that are going to go up for the open district judge position. After we make that determination, then we go back and consider those who have indicated they're willing to be a magistrate judge, and then make our appointments off of those individuals.
So the ones who are on the list of 3 to the governor then would be excluded from consideration for magistrate. Is that your
Correct.
idea? Okay.
Correct.
Yes, Laura.
Well, and kind of following up what the guys have said, I would like to see the people that want to be a district court judge interviewed on one day, and the ones that want to be a magistrate judge on the second day, understanding there might be a couple overlap, and maybe one of the ones that overlap could be the end of the, because I only saw one application where the person said they wanted to be considered for both. Maybe have that person at the end of the day on Thursday, and then have everybody that wants to be a magistrate judge on Friday. And I think it is, and I don't disagree, or I agree that if someone isn't one of the three, say, do you want to be considered for one of these two magistrate positions while we make our decisions on Friday is fine. But I agree that the three names that go up shouldn't also be in the running for our magistrate position, because we as our commission are going to appoint that, and that'll be appointed on that Friday, the 18th of November, and we'll be on our way. So rather than have to train the person, get them in up to speed, all that kind of stuff, and then only to potentially have them, because I agree with Kelly that if they get selected to be the district court judge by the governor, they'll take it. And then we kind of have to start all over after we've spent all that time, effort, and energy and trying to get the person going in that magistrate position. I think that's fair. And I like having I would like the separation on who's district and who's magistrate, just because we're going to be interviewing a lot of people, whether it's 14 or 17. And I don't want us to get confused as to who's who.
I personally would prefer it if we voted for the three names for the governor
On the Thursday.
separately, because otherwise the magistrate becomes almost an afterthought, and that disadvantages the people.
Well, I agree, James. That's why I thought we should do all of the district court people on the Thursday, and then we decide who the three names are after we interview everybody that wants to be considered for the position on Thursday, and then we roll in to do the magistrates. And so we only are picking the magistrate people on Friday. That's why I like the separation on who's being interviewed, with the understanding that one application has already said the person's interest would be willing to be considered for both. And I think it's fair to ask the candidate, if you're not one of the three selected, do you want us to consider you tomorrow when we do the magistrate position? That doesn't give me heartburn. So those are my thoughts.
Well, I like the way Rick explained it. I don't know the difference between the two, but I followed what Rick said, and I guess I would support Rick's suggestion.
One of the differences is the salary, for example.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Big difference, actually.
I think if I can clarify, Annabeth, you meant the way that we select.
Yes.
That we clarify with each candidate for certain which positions you're interested in, and then at the end of the second day, vote for the three that go to the governor for district judge, and then choose the two magistrates. Is that?
Yes.
Okay. But if you're one of the three, you are excluded from consideration for the two magistrate positions.
Yes.
So we have two competing proposals for how to organize it.
I don't think so.
I think it's, as I understand it, it's the same. I mean, Laura raised the possibility of voting for the three
On Thursday.
on Thursday. I don't know if that's going to be, I mean, that's something that I think may have to just play out to see how it's considered. I haven't read the applications carefully to see if they clearly made their choices, to exclude the magistrate position or exclude the district judge position from consideration, but we may get to the interviews and they've changed their minds. So I don't know. I think it's probably safer to interview all of them before we make the choices, but
yes, yes,
it's a lot of people to consider too. And I remember when we interviewed 27, it was hard for me to keep straight everyone by the end of the second day.
I mean, based on the application forms, there are people who applied for the magistrate position. There are people who applied for the judge position, and then there's one or two who said both.
I would just make the observation, I've looked at the applications, and I don't recall more than a handful at most, maybe less than that, that specifically stated they wanted a magistrate position. So I don't think it's going to be that confusing with the number 14 of people that we're going to be interviewing to do all the interviews Thursday and Friday, make our choice for the district court position, and then following that, make our magistrate position. I just don't see the need to divide up the days, particularly since one day would arguably be a whole lot heavier the first day than the second day.
Tom?
Can I inquire, do we know, maybe Kevin knows, how many people have selected magistrate only? Does anybody know that?
There are 5. There are 5 people that have selected magistrate only. There's one that has district court or magistrate on the application, and then the others say district court. And of the others that say district court, 3 are going to be selected by the judge. So I think we would have 10 people that would be, we could have on Thursday that are interested in the district court position. And then we know we have 5 that want to be for the magistrate judge position. And then when we interview the 10 on the Thursday, we can ask who wants to also be considered for the 2 magistrate. One, I already know, because one says that person's a crossover for either. And then there may be others that want to add in.
So is there any reason we couldn't put the 5 who've selected magistrate on Friday?
I would, that's what I was saying. I think we should have the people that want to be district court on the Thursday, the people want to be magistrate on the Friday.
And then, like Justice Wilson said, during the day on Thursday, if we decide we don't want to vote, we don't have to, but if we decide we do want to vote on the judgeship, then we have that ability at the end of Thursday. So the point is, that gives us flexibility if we put those 5 on the Friday. That's my thought.
Anybody object to that? Putting the 5 on Friday and then trying to get the others on Thursday?
Good plan.
Okay, we'll try to do that. Michelle, did you get that down so that when you set up the interview times, we'll stick to that for sure. Okay, so I assume then you want to start fairly early on the first day, right? 8 o'clock, is that too early or too late? All right.
Sounds good.
Okay, 8 o'clock a.m. on the 17th. And we'll do the usual with if Chief Judge Draghi wants to make some statements, and we'll take public comments, executive session if one is requested, and then begin the interviews at.
Don't we need executive
Yes,
session to go over the backgrounds and then hear the reports of the different teams?
Right. Yeah, that's what I meant.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay. I'm sorry, since I wasn't at the last one, I just want to make sure.
Yeah, we go over, we open the meeting, welcome, and then do the minutes of, it'll be just the minutes of this meeting. And then Chief Judge Draghi will make some comments. We'll open it up for public comment if there are any. And I assume that we will be in person. If anyone objects to that, let me know. Okay, we'll be in person. So, yeah, Kelly.
I just wanted to bring up, maybe this is the time of it being public and that the meeting's open. We have availability for the public to come in. I don't think we don't have to do Zoom or YouTube or anything like that because it's an open meeting. And as an aside from that, I think having the Zoom made it where people were more reluctant to talk when we were going through discussions and voting. So I don't think we should do Zoom or YouTube. We just announced, say it's open meeting. It's at the courthouse. And if we have more people than can fit into that conference room, we can stream it over to the jury assembly room since it's a Thursday or Friday. if there's a group of people, more than 5 or 6 people that want to come in and watch.
Or we could physically move to the jury
Right.
assembly room, couldn't we?
Sure.
Yeah, then we just have it there. I like that idea. Does anybody object to that?
No.
I think it makes it a lot easier. And
I would just make the quick follow-up. If there was a criticism of the last go-round, it arguably was lack of discussion about candidates. We certainly discussed them throughout the 2 days, pros and cons, but during the actual narrowing down of the numbers to the 5 that we agreed upon, a lack of discussion. So I agree with what Judge Ryan is saying, that I think we need to be discussing candidates more so than we did the last go round during the selection process at the end. And this only enhances that likelihood.
And since it's background information, it has to be in executive session. So it's hard to get through very many. It's hard to get through very many candidates in a half an hour after we do their ethics, criminal, and financial. Although we've already, I don't think anything's probably changed for 14 of them since the last time we saw them, but there's 3 new ones. But I think we need a little
last
bit.
time we, I'm sorry, Kevin.
It's okay.
Last time we did the executive sessions for just the ones that on that half day that we were going to do. So we did one executive session for the morning interviews, another one for the afternoon interviews, and same with the next day. That seemed to work pretty well.
Well, I think the problem was that we had such a long day the second day. We've normally had more chance, and we've had 2 days to discuss. And that's why it seemed like the choices were made very quickly. It did to me well. I understand other people saying that.
And
But
we
So I'd
had
rather
set
load-
aside 3 days, but
I'd
we
rather
did.
load up. Yeah, I know. I'd rather load up the first day and have the second day be a little bit shorter, so we have plenty of time to discuss.
okay, yeah, you should be able to do.
I may be a minority, but I see additional drawn out discussion as more lobbying, it seems like, than really getting to the merits of a candidate. After a long day of interviewing, I was pretty clear on the virtues and attributes of candidates. But if everybody feels we need more discussion, I think that has turned into the longest part of the day at times.
Well,
I see your point.
Justice, my viewpoint is it's kind of like a jury deliberating. You've heard all the evidence, and then you come back and say, let's discuss it, instead of just let's take a vote and see guilty or not guilty. That was different than I thought it was going to be.
And I think, in some ways, lobbying might be the point. I mean, that people will see. It's really interesting what happens when you have a collective group of people who all have seen the same thing, but they all have varying opinions about the significance of what they've read and what they've heard. And it's I think it's important to hear what other people's opinions are. And sometimes that does make a long day, and I know the pay isn't very good for the position that you're doing, but it is really an important.
And Sam, I'm not
job.
bothered if you call the question at some point if the process is, in your opinion, taken too long. So that's a procedural method by which to keep the discussion at a reasonable length.
Right. But remember that calling the question requires a 2/3 majority passage. So sometimes people forget that. And at least at least under Robert's rules, I think that's what happens. Because, one person can't just cut it off, and say, I've had enough. that has to be a strong majority rule.
Now, the
I feel
discussion on candidates, Justin, that's public, right?
Yes,
Because I know the candidates actually look at that discussion too.
if they're there.
The background stuff is that the background confidential information conversation, that's in our executive session.
Right.
Correct.
But when we discuss each candidate, that is public. You know, when we're getting
Right.
ready to vote.
Right. And it's important to remember that the confidential, sensitive information that is legitimately part of the executive session shouldn't be discussed during the regular session. But yes, all of those discussions are public. And so, you know, I was recently in the 6th Judicial District where they had just 5 candidates to consider, but they spoke for an hour and a half. They discussed the pros and the cons and the attributes of the candidates, and it was a very lively discussion. But yeah, it's all public. Didn't used to be, but that was a policy decision that the legislature made, and so now it is. Okay. I think we have a clear path. If I'll just recap, we're going to have to, we will set up the interviews for those who have indicated interest in the district judge position for the first day. The ones that have clearly indicated they only want to be considered for the magistrate position on the second day. If we're not sure, we'll try to interview them on the first day. And send 3 names to the governor for the district judge position, and those candidates will be disqualified for consideration for the magistrate position. Does that accurately recap what we're going to do? Any objections to that?
Just to add, you didn't mention 8 o'clock for the second day as well. Both days, 8 o'clock to start.
We didn't decide the second day. Do you want to start the same time?
Yeah.
Makes it probably less confusing. Okay, we'll start at 8 o'clock on day 2. And I think that covers the planned agenda. Kelly.
One issue, if I could ask Michelle, since she's taking her notes on our meeting, in your summary, because I think we need to put that explanation on the nominating commission website so that the candidates are aware of what the rules are.
Okay, that's a good idea. Kevin, if I can impose on you possibly to do the draft minutes as soon as possible, then we can make sure we've got that and we can put that on the website.
Are we going to start interviewing candidates at 8:30 or 9?
Well, the first day, I think, I hate to start out behind, and if we have public comment, that starts us out behind. But if we don't, then we're waiting around. But I don't know. What do you want to do? Do you want to start at 9? First interviews at 9 o'clock.
Right.
That way we know we're going to start them on time anyway.
Right.
Okay. 9 o'clock, first interviews, Michelle.
Justice Rick, when we meet
Yes,
with
sir.
our assigned candidates, my assumption would be we start off with a clarification, just so we're clear, you're applying for what position. And if it appears that it's not indicated as such on their application, we need to get a hold of you and Kevin to apprise you that the candidate is seeking something different than what's on their application.
I would say, yeah, why don't you let me know? And then I'll, we need to always be cognizant of the Open Meetings Act. it's possible that I may have to wait to tell. I could probably give that information to all of you as long as you don't respond back to everyone, or I can announce it when we start the interviews on the 17th. Why don't you let me know if you could inquire of your candidates which positions they're interested in. We could probably let everybody know ahead of time.
Can I ask?
Well,
Because Michelle's going to start setting the dates for application. That's going to move quick. So
Right.
how about if I send out an email to all the candidates and say, please let us know what position you're interested in. And then I'll forward that information to you, Justice, and then you can send it back to us. And then Michelle can start setting it.
With the schedule, yeah.
Right, but she's
Yeah.
going to need to know.
Even
Yeah.
better. Yeah, I like that better. Anybody object to that? So Kevin can just clear it up, whether they're interested only in district, only in magistrate, or interested in both.
Good
Okay?
idea.
Yeah, good idea. Okay, any other business? All right. Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Annabeth Surba moves to adjourn. Second.
I'll second.
All right, James Griffith. Discussion. All in favor, raise your hand.
Just click leave.
But
Just click
motion
leave.
carried. I see you, Steve.